Hello everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to talk about some exciting stuff in the business world of magic. Welcome back to another episode of Advice for Magicians, where my goal is to help you to take your magic to the next level. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about two things that I saw some people asking questions about in different magic forums, and that is questions about tax write-offs and questions about purchasing insurance. Is it necessary to purchase insurance, and what kinds of things can I write off on my taxes as a professional magician? All of that right after these announcements. If you have not already done so, please make sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you guys know every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to support the channel for just $1 a month, go ahead and click the join button and consider becoming a Mob Squad member. Members will get access to a bunch of cool stuff on this channel, including tutorials, early access to videos, emojis, badges, and even discounts in the O'Brien Magic Shop. Again, all of that for just $1 a month. And your support is what helps me to keep this channel going. So special shout out to all of my members, all of my subscribers, and all of you. Yep, talking about you guys there watching this video. It's because of you that I'm able to keep doing these videos and keep sharing my passion. So from the bottom of my heart, you guys rock. Now, let's talk about this. First, taxes. Now, here's a huge disclaimer on this. I am not a tax specialist. I do not have any tax accounting, whatever experience or anything like that. So take everything that I say in this video with a grain of salt. What I do recommend you do is write down any questions that you have about the stuff that you would like to write off in your taxes and present it to whoever your tax preparer is and ask them, can I write this stuff off or can I not write this stuff off? They will tell you, they'll tell you for how much you can write it off and all that stuff. And essentially what a tax write-off means is that you took your own money and applied it towards things that you needed for your business, and you paid taxes on all that stuff, so the government's going to give you a little bit of a break and give you some of your money back on that stuff. That's essentially the easiest way of thinking about what it means to write off your taxes, right? So what kinds of things can you write off in your taxes? Honestly, just about anything that you spent money on for your business, right? Bought a new iPhone? Do you use that iPhone for your business? I sure do, Mr. Taxman. I use it to book my gigs. Go ahead and write off how much money you spent on your iPhone, right? That's something that you can write off in your taxes. Now, you're not going to get the full amount that you paid for your phone back, but you are going to get a percentage of that back based on the amount of taxes that you paid, right? So essentially, you're getting your taxes back. Maybe not all 100% of them, but you're getting your taxes back on the money that you spent on different stuff, right? This deck of cards. Can I write off this deck of cards on my taxes? You bet your sweet tookus you can, because this is what I use to make my money when I'm going out to do shows. I perform with these decks of cards, right? And of course, I'm not using the same deck of cards all year round. I buy a new deck every time I do a gig. Cost $3 for this deck of cards. How many did I buy? I bought 82 decks of cards last year. Cool. Go ahead and write down all 82 decks of cards, and we'll take a percentage of that and we'll write it off on your taxes, right? Magic Castle membership. I became a member at the Magic Castle. Can I write that off? Well, what do you do at the Magic Castle? I go to the Magic Castle and I attend lectures. Do you use those lectures to further your career as a professional magician? You bet your sweet behind I do. Let's go ahead and write that off on your taxes, right? Well, I just bought a brand new car and I'm making $400 a month in payments on my car. Do you use your car in your business? I sure do, Mr. Taxman. I drive my car to all of my gigs and I use it as a method of transportation to transport my props. You can write that off on your taxes, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can write off. Now, there are some things that can get a little sketchy. For example, you never want to write off like alcohol or food or things that you just need to survive anyway. So like, for example, let's just say I took out my client for dinner and I bought the most expensive bottle of champagne and, I bought them, dinner and everything like that. Double, triple, quadruple tax check with your tax person. Can I write those things off? I tend to not write those things off, especially when it comes to alcohol, because it's seen as like a social thing, not necessarily a professional thing. But again, it all kind of depends. Talk to your tax person about things that you're not sure that might be kind of sketchy like that, right? Another thing that's kind of interesting is gas. You can't write off gas directly. You can write off your mileage, but you can only write off a certain percentage of your mileage. That kind of stuff, again, your tax preparer will know how to do. So keep track of the amount of distance that you drive, all of your miles. So if I did a gig that's 60 miles away one way, right? That's 120 miles that I drove for that gig. Write that down in your notes and add up all those miles and then present them to your tax preparer, and they will calculate what you can write off based on the amount of miles that you drove. Stuff like that, right? So, moral of the story is, if you spent money on something for your business, you bought a new suit, etc., right? You went on Penguin Magic and you dropped $300 on new magic stuff. You can write all that stuff off for your business as a magician. Take note of everything, keep all your receipts, and present everything to your tax preparer and just ask them, hey, am I okay to write this stuff off? They'll say yes or no. The more you can write off, the more money you'll get back on your tax returns at the end of the year, or hopefully avoid paying money if you already owe the government money. So there you have it. Again, I'm not a tax specialist, so please take everything that I just said with a grain of salt. Now, liability insurance. Do I need liability insurance? It kind of depends on what you're planning to do. I highly recommend you just go ahead and get it anyway, especially in today's day and age where everyone is sue happy. It's really important to be protected, and especially if you're getting booked out by like companies or venues. Like, you'll notice a lot of venues, like for example, not too long ago I did a wedding, and the actual venue themselves that the wedding was at required me to present a certificate of proof of insurance that I was insured for a minimum of $1 million. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of money, right? But being insured for between $1 and $5 million is actually pretty standard for our industry. And you don't necessarily have to be doing anything dangerous. You don't have to be like a fire dancer or juggling knives or any of that stuff, right? Just as a professional close-up magician that doesn't do any large illusions or anything like that, I'm protected. My standard is for up to $1 million in damages, and I pay like $150 a year for my insurance. And it's just as a walk-around magician, right? So why do you have to be insured if I'm not going to be throwing darts at people tied up against the wall or throwing hatchets at them or something? Why do I need insurance, right? It's to protect you from little things. Like, for example, let's just say I'm at that wedding and I'm doing walk-around magic and everyone's loving it, and I go over here and, here, can you choose a card for me? And I bump that glass of wine and I spill wine all over this woman's $3,000 dress that she was wearing for this wedding, right? So that I don't have to pay for it, she can go ahead and collect money from my insurance. My insurance would cover it. I might see a penalty on my insurance side, but at least I'm not paying $3,000+ to take care of this woman's dress, right? Her dress is covered by my insurance. It protects against things like that. You also want to protect against bodily harm or injury. So for example, you invite a spectator to come up with you on stage and they trip and fall down the stairs, right? Now, normally the venue would cover things like that, but there are some instances where the venue might be like, I don't know, the magician had them coming up stage and the magician didn't help them up the stage and they fell and it's the magician's fault, right? The gentleman falls and breaks his elbow, just shatters his elbow, and his whole arm is just like floppity loppity like this, right? And it's going to cost him $50,000 in medical bills to take care of his arm. Are you going to pay $50,000 for the guy's medical bills out of your own pocket, or are you going to let your insurance cover it, right? So it's really important to be covered for things like this. Accidents do happen. I have never in my entire career once had someone threaten to sue me over anything that's ever happened. I mean, accidents happen, right? But I've never had to get to a point where I've needed to use my insurance. But what I can tell you is that the day that it does happen and I'm not insured, I'm going to be completely screwed. So it's a really good idea to make sure that you are covered. And like I said, it costs like $150 to $200 a year to be covered for up to $1 or $2 million in damages. Just general liability insurance for performers. Now, I go through K&K Insurance Company. I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys so you can go check them out. But there are a bunch of different insurance companies for different entertainers. And you can put what exactly it is that you do. And so you're covered for certain things. So for example, if you are like a fire dancer, you're juggling like flaming batons or whatever, you want to make sure that you put that so that in the event that you're tossing it up and it gets a little too close to the ceiling and the ceiling lights on fire or something, you know, you're covered for burning down the building, right? So it's really, really important, depending on what you do, that you choose the insurance that best suits your performance. Me personally, I'm just covered for general liability as a close-up performer because I don't do anything like that. I just do like card magic and coin magic and sponge balls and stuff, right? But I'm still covered because, again, accidents still happen. So in today's video, I just wanted to do a little thought of the day at the end here, and that is, what are some ways that you guys can protect yourself, you know, so that if an accident happens or something like that, you're not held personally responsible? And also, what are some things that you guys recommend to write off on your taxes to save some money at the end of the year that maybe most people wouldn't think of? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, make sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. That way you'll know every time I upload a new video. If you'd like to check out some more magic, visit us at obrienmagic.com and be sure to check out our online magic shop, where you will find the latest and greatest magic books, downloads, and accessories.